I'm at the Standard & Poor's stand. It is day 3 of the conference and it's lunchtime, hence the sort of quite prolific background noise. But with me is insurance analyst at Standard & Poor's, Neil Gosrani, all the way from the UK. Neil, thanks for chatting to us and welcome to the insurance conference. How have you found it so far?
Pleasure. It's been fantastic. This is my second year and it is a fantastic gathering of the short-term industry here. So I've always found it a very lively atmosphere.
Great. You spoke to delegates yesterday just on some of the sort of trends in the South African insurance industry from a rating agency's perspective, both positive and more concerning trends. And one of the points you picked up on was that our prominent distribution model in South Africa is through brokers and UMAs, which you pointed out as potentially problematic just to distribution. So my question to you is, do you think that the increase in direct players in the South African market, which is something we're seeing, do you think that is positive for the local insurance industry here?
From our analysis of the industry and of insurance in general, direct distribution means that insurance companies have more control over how they're distributing their product and perhaps greater control over pricing. Certainly with brokers, they do put pressure on pricing to an insurer. So therefore, if an insurer is able to go directly to its customer to pitch its products and therefore reduce perhaps distribution cost in that way, it is a benefit to the industry. So control over distribution, in our analysis, is certainly a plus point.
Do you not think there could be challenges or problems around advice when it comes to direct distribution models, especially in a country that's, although our financial services sector is developed, a large proportion of the population is uninsured and require quite a lot of input when it comes to insurance products?
Education is obviously very important in terms of insurance and explaining what the products are about, how they work, what the benefits are. We heard today a lot about treating customers fairly, and I think that initiative will certainly help towards educating customers and helping them really understand what insurance is all about.
You also list the delegated underwriting authority model as high risk, and that is of course the model that we have in South Africa. Why is that so high risk, and what checks and balances should UMAs have in place to mitigate against that?
I think our concern over the UMA model is that as the underwriter or the risk carriers, which are the insurance companies, are separated from the underwriting process which is occurring at the UMA level, there is a bit of a disconnect between what's being placed on their balance sheets and what's being taken on. So the concern is obviously that you may have a rogue underwriter that puts excessive risks or risks that you're not familiar with onto your balance sheet as an insurer. And from our point of view, we're looking at insurers and their ability to pay policyholder claims as they fall due. So the risk in the UMA model is that you have an element that takes excessive risk without the insurer perhaps properly knowing what's going on their balance sheet. What are the checks and balances? Well, we know that some insurers are taking stakes in UMAs. We know that they may have regular meetings, say monthly MI meetings, to understand what data is coming through, what the risks are, what business is being taken on. They may have a seat on their board to have some sort of oversight over how the UMA is run. So these sort of things help give the insurer oversight over those UMAs.
And then sort of on something completely different, you're somewhat of an expert, or you are an expert on Takaful Insurance, which is picking up a lot of steam, not only in other parts of the world, but certainly in Africa. And what's happening in that space? Is there an increased demand for product? And is there an increase in product design and innovation in that space?
It's a very interesting space. It takes a little time to understand this Islamic model which separates policyholders and shareholders, but it's akin to a cooperative model that's been familiar in Europe for a number of years. In Africa, we've seen a number of developments across the continent. There have been new direct Takaful insurers picking up and starting up. We know that there's been a Takaful reinsurer set up in Egypt. So there is certainly interest. It's at a relatively small level, because when we look at those countries that have a majority Islamic Muslim population, they tend to be in the poorer parts of the continent. and therefore the potential for insurance growth in those areas where primary needs are clearly far more important is relatively modest. But there is certainly an increasing interest, and we expect in due course that this industry is going to flower as it has done in the Gulf.
So you'd say that's definitely an industry to watch?
In the long term, certainly, yes.
Great, Neil. Well, thanks for joining us at Risk Assess TV, and enjoy the rest of the conference. How long are you still in South Africa for?
I'm here until Friday, so I get to enjoy the cold weather until then.
Great, thank you.